This is Northeast Georgia's only local source for high school sports. From the Grady College at the University of Georgia, this is Grady Sportsource.
One Athens area coach makes the transition from the collegiate ranks. A senior tight end is patiently waiting to receive passes from his brother next year, and the Princes of the Avenue look to ascend to Georgia royalty once again in 2021. Coming up tonight on Sportsource. Welcome to Sportsource as we get set to kick off our studio show coverage of Athens area high school football here in 2021. I am your host, Reeves Jackson. After our show was unfortunately canceled a year ago due to the pandemic, we are excited to be back in living color. I will be joined later by our analysts Ethan Strang, Mariah Rose, and Stefan Caray. We will take a deep dive into the 7 high school football teams in the Athens area: Athens Academy, Athens Christian, Cedar Shoals, Clark Central, North Oconee, Oconee County, and Prince Avenue Christian. Our goal is to bring you the developing stories and highlight the game action throughout the season. As we look at the Week 5 matchups for area teams, there's one that stands out above the rest. Our game of the week brings us to the home of the 2020 1A private state champion Prince Avenue Wolverines. Tonight, the Wolverines, who graduated a certain quarterback Athens football fans might have heard of, host the Wesleyan Wolves. Ethan, it's safe to say there's been a rich history between these two programs in the last 3 years, including in last year's state playoffs.
You're absolutely right, Reeves. This is a big semifinal rematch from last year's Prince Avenue Wesleyan semifinal game. Prince Avenue has won 4 of the last 5 games between these teams, and for non-region opponents to meet 5 times over 3 seasons is just absolutely absurd.
Both teams lost over 10 starters on defense and offense combined. Both teams are starting new quarterbacks as well. Jet Miller for Wesleyan and Aaron Philo for Prince Avenue. I have to mention Brock Vandegrift, last year's quarterback at Prince Avenue. He's the type of athlete that Wesleyan coach Franklin Pridgeon called the best player in high school football alone last season, and now suits up for the red and black of the University of Georgia. Filling in his shoes is Aaron Philo, and he's just a sophomore.
Yeah, with a sophomore quarterback, you'd really expect a change in philosophy on offense, right? Wrong. Prince Avenue's coach Greg Vandegrift has kept the spread offense mostly intact with just a few more wrinkles in it.
This team has run for just 258 yards through 4 games this season, Ethan. They're only averaging 3.4 yards per carry. It's very unusual. It's clear Coach Vandegrift trusts Aaron Philo to run a very similar offense to last season's.
Let's break it down. I got the big board behind me. If you look closely here, we got Wesleyan versus Prince Avenue from last year's regular season game. What I want to highlight is Wesleyan's defense is still sticking with the 3-5 base defense. So that means there's one safety here, and he's going to cover this half of the field. This half of the field is empty. There's not a safety. This slot wide receiver is going to run a fly route. Safety's going to pick him up. This slot wide receiver is also going to run a fly route. But what's tricky here is the quarterback is going to watch the cornerback's hips. If his hips stay parallel to the line of scrimmage, that means it's zone coverage. If the cornerback switches and it's perpendicular to the line of scrimmage, it means it's in man coverage. Brock Vandegrift knows once this play starts, he's going to have this player in a zone coverage. He's going to bust it deep. Honestly, if he doesn't trip over his own shoelaces, this would have been for 6. As you can see, he blows by the cornerback. There's no safety help and just a big gain. And I expect a lot of this come tomorrow or tonight.
Yeah, can't be running out there with just single high safeties.
Absolutely not.
Prince Avenue.
I'm a big fan of the 2 high safety look, which we're about to take a look at from Week 1 versus Calvary Day. You got the strong safety here. Just off screen, we have the free safety. He's there. He's patrolling. But look at here. You only have 3 down linemen. They're only going to bring 4 people here and just trust that their 4 men are going to get to the quarterback, and they absolutely do here. They're going to call this player in motion to try to fool the defense. The defense is not fooled. They kept their safety here. This safety is going to read up here. He's going to read this fly route. This player's going to go in motion, block. Problem here, this safety just reads this play for an easy interception, as we're about to see. It's a young quarterback. This was his first game. I don't expect him to do this often, but he ended up throwing for 4 interceptions in this game. It just was not a good game. Here we got it in slow motion. He's bringing the wide receiver in motion, trying to fool the defense. He gets absolutely log jammed there by the defensive end. Bad throw, under pressure, interception, long return. bad day for Prince Avenue.
Well, for Prince Avenue, they scored 13 points in that game. You mentioned the 4 interceptions, so clearly doing something right against this offense.
Absolutely, absolutely, Reeves. And we got one last footage here to look at from last week's game. And this is Knoxville, the Christian Academy of Knoxville. And as you can see, they're doing just what I feared. Here's the deepest safety. The other player that you can't see is right about there. So this is going to be the deepest safety. They have nobody down the field to cover a really deep throw, and that's exactly what they're set up. This is just like the last play, except here you have a tight end that's going to stay in the block instead of a wide receiver. This player is going to come in motion for the fake. He's going to block. This player goes to the flat, and essentially it's a 2-route concept. You're going to have this player going to fly route outside, this player going to fly route inside. The safety reads the outside throw. It's an easy pitch and catch for young Aaron Philo, and it's going to be a big touchdown as you're about to see. He's about to bring the player in motion, fakes the handoff, stays in for the block. Look at that easy pitch and catch. Wide open down the field.
Ethan, that's exactly where Greg Vandegrift has made his money, especially with Brock. Those formations were killer en route to their state championship last season.
Yep, they like to run screens, and then off that, they like to build their deep down the field pass game. There's obviously some new wrinkles with a new quarterback in. He's a sophomore. He can't do everything that Vandegrift can do, but they really like what he's got, and they really like their deep passing game.
Well, Ethan, it seems that this game has all the makings for the Wolverines to pile up some more points. This offense has averaged 59 points in just its last 3 games. I know you'll be back with us a little later to break this matchup down even further.
Thanks, Reeves.
This week, our own RJ Taylor went 100 yards with Athens Academy's Jenna Holt. Ever wonder what it's like to kiss the jawbone? Well, yes, RJ went there.
100 yards with Jenna Holt, defensive lineman at Athens Academy. Toughest offensive lineman you've had to go up against?
I would have to say it's probably John Ferguson. Having to practice against him up there, he would always be on my tail, man.
One of your hobbies is working on old cars with your dad. How did that start?
Just growing up watching him do it always motivated me to kind of get into cars and stuff like that. So I guess I know my way around an engine, I guess.
So what's the most difficult car project you've had to do?
I would have to say probably changing spark plugs. Those things are a hassle, having to get all the way down in there. And, of course, nobody likes their hands dirty.
What kind of car do you drive right now?
2016 B5 Blue Dodge Scat Pack.
Nice. What's your dream car?
All of them. I want to own every car.
Hey, mine, if I wanted to get an old car, be a 63 Corvette split window. Those are fantastic.
Yes, sir.
Favorite tradition with you guys, the jawbone. What does that taste like, kissing the jawbone?
Kind of salty. You got a lot of dudes kissing the jawbone at once, so it's kind of questionable.
Speaking of your dad, talked about him a minute ago. He played high school at Cedar Shoals. How has he been a mentor for you and influential in your football career?
He's always been a mentor to me because just seeing him do whatever he's doing on film. Of course, I wasn't there to see him play in real life, but seeing what he was doing on film, leading his guys up, telling his guys what to do, always played a role on me because I can do that same thing. I might not be in the same standpoint, not as fast as he was, but I can always tell my guys, hey, listen to the coach. He's saying some great things. Listen to the players, other players, listen to the seniors, stuff like that. So always hearing his voice and hearing how he moves forward always helped me out.
What's it like watching him on film in the living room? That's got to be funny.
It's very funny because, you know, he doesn't have a CD. It's all VHS and all that stuff. So we have to go and find out the old VHS, blow the dust off. So it's very funny just seeing him when he was skinny, of course. So just seeing him skinny was hilarious to me.
Your team does Tuesday night dinners. How did that start?
I'm not even sure, going to be honest with you. I kind of just hopped in my sophomore year and, hey, they said, come over to this house and we're going to eat. So, and of course, with me being a lineman, that helps out.
Who eats the most?
I'll have to say Cooper. Cooper's a freshman this year, and he grubs. He doesn't slow down. I think he ate 6 sandwiches before a JV game last week.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
What's your favorite meal?
Hamburgers and French fries. Wendy's is the best place to eat.
All right, there you have it. 100 yards with Jenna Holt.
Love that interview, RJ. Let's just hope that no TVs were broken while Jenna's father went back and watched tape of his high school days. His older brother Max is a budding star at LSU, but little brother is making a name for himself. Maybe as big as his older brother, or even their dad. Gianna Perani has more.
Every Monday through Thursday at 6 a.m., the Oconee County High School football team hits the ground running in preparation for playing under the Friday night lights. Among all the rest, there's one athlete leaving his mark on Warrior territory. Jake Johnson is a senior at Oconee County High School, but he will certainly be graduating with more than just a diploma. According to 24/7 Sports, Jake is the #1 nationally ranked tight end. In 2020, Jake won the Region 8 AAA Player of the Year. Jake committed to LSU back in April, and he should have no problem settling in. His older brother Max is the Tigers' starting quarterback. Head coach Travis Nolan tells us he noticed Jake's potential for a football career way before high school.
His brother Max was playing here, and Jake was still in the middle school, and he showed up one day over here with Max, and he was as big as Max was, and he's 2 years older, so I knew then that he was going to be a pretty special athlete.
And even while he's away playing quarterback for LSU, Max is still able to give some big brother advice to his little bro.
He loves where he's at right now at LSU, and he's just competing daily, and he's told me a little bit about college and what it's like, but I don't want to take our high school time for granted, so just taking it day by day.
Jake's father, Brad Johnson, a former NFL quarterback known for bringing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to their 2003 Super Bowl title, and his mother, Nikki Johnson, played volleyball for South Florida. And although Johnson may have a leg up with a family that's been supporting him from the start, Coach Nolan says it's Jake's work ethic that separates him from the rest of the pack.
He runs every route in practice at full speed. Every blocking drill, everything he does is with maximum effort. There's no plays off. There's no reason he has the success that he has because he works hard every day to perform those tasks that are asked of him.
And Coach Nolan isn't the only one who's noticed Jake's dedication to the game. Warriors quarterback Mac Rick says Jake gets it from his family.
I think Jake is different from the average Joe because of his work ethic, and that comes from his dad and his mom, and he's also just insanely athletic.
In the Johnson family, the competition doesn't stop at the football field. It's tennis, it's basketball, and it's even Mario Kart.
Yeah, so I always kind of grew up around sports and around a sports family, knowing that they're always there for me, and just the competitiveness also with our family. It's kind of shaped me into who I am around like sports and all that. So I'm grateful for it.
Coach Nolan says Jake's football career can only go up from here, and as long as he stays healthy, he might just be following in his dad's footsteps. For the Carmical Sports Media Institute at UGA, this is Gianna Perani.
Fantastic story, Gianna. That is a bloodline of talent unlike many others. Should be exciting to see whether the Johnson brothers reconnect at LSU. After the break, we'll take you through what makes one Athens coach so unique to his new team.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
Welcome back to Sportsource. I'm Reeves Jackson with you, previewing all of tonight's Friday night football action here in the Athens area. Rickey Bustle has spent his coaching days at positions that other coaches could only ever dream of. Now he's at the helm of Athens Christian, looking to get them past the first round for the first time since 1992. Chris Caray caught up with our coach in the spotlight.
Go, 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 go! Get up in there! After 35 years of coaching at the Division I level, Rickey Bustle has decided to try his hand at a new challenge, Georgia high school football, and more specifically, Athens Christian.
They said the right things about trying to get this program up. We had about 26 kids in the spring, and I was wondering where I was going to get kids from, and now we're sitting at about 46 or so, and I think that's a good thing for this school.
Though in his first season as head coach of the Eagles, Bustle has been in Athens for quite some time. He made the move with his wife Lynn, who works as an associate professor at UGA. This is his first head coaching job since he was the man in charge at Louisiana Lafayette 11 years ago.
Big challenge here is the patience of watching young men grow, and watching them grow during a season, because they're not going to get a lot stronger during the season. They'll lift some, but they're not going to get a lot stronger. But they'll get a little bit bigger, get in better shape, learn technique, and the thing that I promised them when I came here, that I was going to bring in a good staff that were good teachers.
The coach has brought in a mix of college and high school coaches, including Tony Pierce, who coached at Georgia under Mark Richt. These new changes have been accepted by the players fully.
Set the bar pretty high for us, to jump on his plan and see what he was going to bring to the table for us.
For Coach Bustle, the plan is simple. Get past the first round of the region playoffs, a task that has not been accomplished since 1992.
We would like to go further in the region playoffs and the state playoffs. We would like to finish out with a winning record. But we would like to just develop our skills, not only as football players, but as men, as young men. We just want to become better young men in the community and just overall progress our talents in football.
Go, 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 go. Get up in there. Yes. 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 That's what you do.
So far, Bustle says he has enjoyed his time at Athens Christian. His favorite part? Guiding the athletes in a positive direction.
I think being able to help these young guys grow up, being able to help them maybe be better than they can be, and seeing them believe in something like that is rewarding for me.
Coach Bustle and the Eagles will play Mount Vernon at Eagle Stadium on Friday night at 7:30 with hopes of improving to 4-0 on the season. Chris Caray, Carmical Sports Media Institute, UGA.
Great story, Chris. It's not every day that you see someone who coached Michael Vick at Virginia Tech bring his talents to the high school ranks. Battling the losses of seniors in bunches is always tough, especially when one of those is a generational high school player. Our DonA Traylor has more about two area teams trying to fill in the gaps.
The Clark Central Gladiators are hours away from their third game of the season. At 0-2, they are one loss away from tying their total losses last year. The Prince Avenue Christian Wolverines are about to have their fifth game of the year. In their 3 wins thus far, they have averaged 48 points. Both of these teams lost a lot of players to graduation. Clark Central lost 27, and Prince Avenue lost 19. But the Gladiators seem a little more affected, while the Wolverines are still rolling. Clark Central lost its entire secondary and several talented offensive players, including wide receiver No Mack.
If we got in trouble the last 3 years, it was just find him and let him create his magic.
Prince Avenue won the state championship last year. They've since graduated 7 All-State players, including 5-star quarterback Brock Vandegrift, who threw for over 10,000 yards in his high school career and now plays on Saturdays at the University of Georgia.
He started as a ball boy at 5 years old, so at 5, I knew he was on the field somewhere. So for 12 years or more, he was on the sidelines. Again, just that comfort level or just that familiarity, was definitely new, especially, that first game. And so that, it's like sort of like you lost a part of you.
Wolverines' new sophomore quarterback, Aaron Philo, really had to adjust in their first game and only loss of this season.
That first game, I was really nervous because, just felt the atmosphere. It was felt like I had a lot of pressure on me. I just tried to calm down a little bit and not think about it as much.
And it seemed to work.
Week 2, he threw for 557 yards, which is the 4th highest in state history. We didn't foresee that coming.
With so much offensive dominance, the Wolverines seem to be in a much better position than the Gladiators. But looks can be deceiving. Clark Central started the season playing Beaufort and Oconee County, both of which have made consecutive state championship appearances in the last 2 years. Tonight's game against Appalachia High School is the Gladiators' first region game this year. Last year, they went undefeated in the region. Senior A.J. Jules still expects them to perform highly despite their roster losses.
Now time of the season is it ain't no looking back. It's straightforward. It's season time. We gotta win our region, gotta win the city. After we win the region, we go on the state. So that's what my mind said, and that's what I gotta get everybody else on.
Clark Central is just getting started in its very competitive 8-team region. Prince Avenue's next biggest regular season game is tonight against Wesleyan, who they last played in the state semifinal. The playoff potential of both of these teams could still be affected by the loss of talent in their 2021 graduating classes. Tonight's matchups could shed more light on if these roster losses will continue to hurt Clark Central or might start to affect Prince Avenue Christian. DonA Traylor, Carmical Sports Institute, UGA.
Thanks, DonA. Only time will tell to see how those teams continue developing their younger talent this season. We cannot wait to unveil a brand new segment on Sportsource when we come back. You're going to want to stick around to watch this.
You know, a lot of people say when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. And I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
Welcome back into the studio. Reeves Jackson with you as we get set to take you through all of the other Athens area games tonight. We're excited to debut a brand new segment on our show here today. Welcome to our first edition of Hot Seat, where we will break down and rate which Athens area teams are on the hottest of seats heading into tonight's games. I'm happy to be joined in this segment with Ethan Strang, Mariah Rosen, Stefan Caray. And Steph, up with you first here. You have the prestigious honor of stepping into the hot seat here first. What do you have for us, Steph?
Well, it's an honor to be the first in the hot seat. Thank you so much, Reeves. Let's break down the first game, a 1A private school matchup between Athens Christian and Mount Vernon. Starting with Mount Vernon, the Mustangs have had a rocky start to their season with a 1-2 record. In their first 2 weeks of play, the Stangs were outscored 67-3. You got to expect defense is going to be a huge point of emphasis going into Athens Christian, where they have a new head coach in Rickey Bustle. Chris Caray outlined that in his report. But Athens Christian has the exact same record going into week 4 that they did in 2020. Wins over Walker, St. Francis, and Oglethorpe County. Athens Christian has been known to have hot starts to begin the season, but have teetered off towards the end. They were dealt their first loss in the 2020 season by Mount Vernon by a score of 42-26. Definitely a lot of pressure to get over the hump and continue this strong start for Rickey Bustle.
Well, Stefan, we have the hot seat, but we also have the cold pillow. So tell us which of these two teams are on the hot seat and the cold pillow here.
Mount Vernon is definitely on the hot seat. A potential 1-3 start to begin the season and 2 more non-region games before 5 straight to region battles to end the season, a gauntlet, to say the least. The time to get things going is running out. Mount Vernon won last week by 3 touchdowns, so a positive momentum swing, but that may not be enough. I'm putting Mount Vernon at a 6.7 on the hot seat scale. And with Athens Christian has had a little bit of leeway in this game. They're at home with a 3-0 record. But like I mentioned earlier, this is the part of the schedule where Athens Christian struggled last year. Only 4 region games on the schedule this year. You never know who they're going to be within the region, but I'm going to put Athens Christian right above the hot seat scale at a 5.2. This is only because the Eagles need to prove that they're winners in the heart of the season.
Now, Stefan, take us through who's going to win this game here tonight.
Well, Reeves, in this game, I'm going to go with Athens Christian to continue its streak and move to 4-0 at home. Rickey Bustle has instilled a lot of confidence in his players, and I think we're going to see it all come together tonight.
Well, thank you very much, Stefan. Should be interesting. And now, Mariah, you jump into the hot seat with us, and we have a game in which many would have considered the game of the week, Mariah.
Yeah, Reeves, moving on to a non-conference matchup between Oconee County and Thomasville, where we have 2 undefeated teams fighting to keep their perfect records intact. The Oconee County Warriors were the 3A state runners-up in 2020, and the Thomasville Bulldogs exited the playoffs in the 3rd round. Oconee County is returning nice and rested from their bye week, and they had a dominant defensive performance in their last game at Clark Central, where they forced 4 turnovers and prevented Clark Central's offense from passing the 3-yard line towards the end of the game. On the offensive side, they totaled 223 yards and scored a passing touchdown from their QB, Jacob Bright, to Whit Weeks, and a 14-yard run from running back C.J. Jones. Thomasville is on a roll with 4 straight wins to start off the season, and their win against Bainbridge last week, senior running back Malik Harper scored 3 of the team's 4 total touchdowns. The team has only had 2 passing touchdowns on the season, but 14 rushing touchdowns. The run game is an essential part of this Thomasville offense.
Who's on the hot seat really feeling this pressure in this game, Mariah?
Thomasville will definitely be on the hot seat tonight, Reeves. They're facing the state runner-up at their place, and to make matters worse, Oconee County will be well-rested and ready to defend their undefeated status in front of their fans. We can't forget that Oconee County beat them pretty bad last year, 44-14. For these reasons, I will put them at a 7 on the hot seat scale. As for Oconee County, they're in a much better spot going into this game, and history is on their side. It's definitely going to be tough for Thomasville to get past their defense. However, the pressure is on thick for the Warriors tonight, and Thomasville is going to bring their best. This game is going to be a battle for both teams, which is why I will give Oconee County a mere 5 on the hot seat scale.
Who do you have tonight, Mariah? Is Oconee County going to make it 2 wins in a row?
Well, Reeves, it will be close, but I'm going to pick Oconee County to win tonight and remain undefeated. These guys, coached by Travis Nolan, know how to win. They went undefeated in the regular season last year, and I think it'll be too difficult for the Bulldogs to get past their dominant defense.
Well, Stefan, step right back up in here. Next game on the table here is Cedar Shoals.
Well, you can never really avoid the hot seat. The next game on the table, like you said, is the Cedar Shoals Jaguars versus the Winder Barrow Bulldogs. Jaguars have only played 1 game this season, while Winder Barrow has played 3. So in-game experience, the Bulldogs have them beat. However, despite the 1 loss that Cedar Shoals does have, they played extremely well against one of the best teams in the region, Oconee County. But you look at Leroy Riles' squad from last year. They didn't get their first win until week 4, and that came by forfeit against East Hall. They didn't score an offensive touchdown until week 5. Now, on the other side, you look at Winder Barrow. Over their last 2 games, they've been outscored by 33 points over that span. If the Jaguars' offense can put up some points, it's going to be a good day, and maybe 3 straight losses for the Bulldogs.
Well, Stefan, if anyone's had the hot seat the past few years, it's been Cedar Shoals. Are they on the hot seat again today?
Well, I think they might be, but Winder Barrow is who I'm going to start with. They're at the end of the line for non-region competition. The Bulldogs have to build some positive momentum in week 4 if they want to gain some confidence going into the toughest part of their schedule. Winder Barrow is on a scalding seat right now, coming in at a 7.2. And Cedar Shoals, like you were talking about, they're in a pretty strange spot. This team is routinely used to having losing seasons. This year feels like there's a little bit of hope, given its strong performance against Oconee County. And the fact that it's only the 2nd week of the season for the Jags. They only have that week 1 matchup against Oconee County. I'm going to give them my first cold pillow. They don't get it by much, but they're at a 4.5 on the scale, and I think they'll be good this week.
So, Stefan, are you saying Cedar Shoals is going to win this game this week?
I don't think a lot of people are going to agree with me, but this may be my most bold prediction yet. I do think the Jaguars win this week, even though it's an away game. Cedar Shoals has proven successful in that stadium. In the last meeting at Winder Barrow, the Jaguars won in overtime 49-43. But the real reason why I'm picking the Jaguars is one man's name, Jordavian Colbert. In his week 1 matchup, he had 133 yards on the ground and a 54-yard touchdown pass. He's pretty much the only source of offense for Cedar Shoals, and I think they win in a close one, Reeves.
Well, Mariah, we'll have you hop back into the hot seat to really talk about a team that is feeling the pressure early on this season.
Thanks, Reeves. Both teams are still looking for their first win to the season as Appalachia travels to Athens 0-3, and Clark Central is coming off a bye week 0-2. Clark Central was looking forward to having their first 3 games at home, but had a tough start against 2 very tough opponents. In the losses against Beaufort and Oconee County, Clark Central was unable to score a single touchdown. This could be their chance to get their first win. Appalachia's passing attack is only averaging 35 yards a game. The offense is very reliant on senior running back Colby Sykes, who is averaging over 100 yards a game.
Well, Mariah, maybe foreshadowing something here a little later in the show, but is Clark Central on your hot seat?
I have to give the hot seat to Clark Central. This game is a must-win for the Gladiators at home. Yes, they face tough teams in the first 2 weeks, but not a single touchdown. The good news is QB Lucian Anderson is just taking over the role as QB1 after training under Brock Vandergriff at Prince Avenue in 2019. So the offense just needs to find their rhythm, but the pressure is on them to turn things around and boost spirits in the locker room, not only to win the game, but to prove that they're a force to be reckoned with in their region. This is as hot as the seat gets. I'm going to go dramatic and give them a 10. As far as Appalachia goes, to be honest, guys, it would be an upset if Appalachia won tonight. They're playing away against a better team on paper. The pressure is on the other guys, but both teams desperately need a win tonight, so this is no cold pillow. I'm going to give them a 7 on the hot scale.
As we talked about, Mariah, Clark Central desperately needing a win tonight. Do they get it?
Clark Central is going to take care of business at home. The Gladiators will get their first win tonight.
Ethan, it's your turn to step on up into the hot seat to preview our game of the week, Wesleyan and Prince Avenue. We already talked in depth about this game earlier, but Ethan, there's still a few storylines we need to uncover here.
You're absolutely right, Reeves. Let me go ahead and clean the viewers' palates with a little bit more about the game of the week between Prince Avenue and Wesleyan. There's no denying this has the feel of a game much bigger than it is, much bigger than a regular season game. This is a rematch of last year's semifinal game where Prince Avenue won 50-3. Tonight, they expect the capacity of the stadium to be a full crowd, and that's only going to add fuel to the fire. Now, Wesleyan head coach Franklin Pridgeon says he and his team are not motivated by revenge, but there's no denying this game means that much more. With losing 4 of the last 5 to Prince Avenue, including 3 of those to the Brock Vandegrift-led teams, Pridgeon and the Wolves feel as if this could finally be their season. With Centennial transfer quarterback Jet Miller now at the helm under center, Wesleyan hung tight with 5A Decatur team that's a perfect 3-0 on the season. Coach Pridgeon says that game was definitely a barometer for where they are, and they felt really good about it being in a hostile environment.
Now, Ethan, tell us who's hot, who's not here in this matchup.
For Prince Avenue, the seat is ice cold. Get out your pillows. Don't suffocate anybody. Coach Vandegrift has done everything and then some for Prince Avenue, especially against Wesleyan. With bringing the first state championship home in program history last year, Vandegrift doesn't have much to prove to anybody. Prince Avenue's hot sit rating is a cool 1. It's quite the opposite for Wesleyan with losing 4 of the last 5 matchups to Prince Avenue. This almost feels like a must-win game for the program in this new rivalry now that Brock Vandegrift has embarked on his journey at UGA. Wesleyan sits at a 7 on the heat index. Not too hot, not too cold, but they do need to get a win.
Ethan, put your pick'em hat on here. Who's winning this game here tonight? What a great game we have.
Yes, fantastic game. Game of the week. You know who I got to go with. I'm going to go with sophomore quarterback Aaron Philo to have a monster day, over 300 yards, over 3 touchdowns, and a win for Prince Avenue, 35-21.
Well, thank you very much, Ethan. Well, guys, we have a new segment. The end of the segment here on the hot seat. It is the Throne of Fire, as we'll have Stefan step up first. And Stefan, tell us who's in your Throne of Fire.
Well, I think you have to talk about Clark Central being on the Throne of Fire. David Perno's squad has struggled this year offensively, but has done pretty well defensively. They faced some really good teams in the first 2 weeks, but the number to focus on is 5 total points scored. This offense is due for a big day, but against an 0-3 Appalachia within the region, if you lose this game, it's going to be almost impossible to recover from. I'm not going to be as dramatic as Mariah and give them a 10, but I will say an 8.2 on the scale, and they get the Throne of Fire from me.
Well, Mariah, you can hop back into the hot seat here and tell me who your Throne of Fire team is. I have a feeling since you gave Clark Central a 10, we might know your answer.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with Stefan. If you're David Perno's Gladiators, this game is a must-win. Clark Central has not scored a single touchdown so far, and their defense was pretty good against Buford with 62 tackles, but not so hot against Oconee County. Tonight, they have an opportunity to turn things around against Appalachia, who also has no wins on the season. In my book, this is a 10 on the hot seat scale, Stefan. Clark Central cannot afford a region loss at home tonight.
Ethan, I already know that this breakdown from you is going to get real interesting.
You bet, Reeves. If this was 2009 and I was Borat, I would probably call this the not game of the week, and I'm going to have to stick with our other analysts here and pick Clark Central as well. You know, if we rank this matchup on the Scoville scale, it'd be a Carolina Reaper because this game is spicy, this game is hot. But I have full faith that Clark Central will get the job done tonight. Clark Central's offense has had to play 2 top defenses so far this season. Both teams are ranked top 50 in the country according to Max Preps. The opposing team only has 2 wins on the season. And the max they've ever had in a season under Tony Lottie is 3. This is his 4th year. Clark Central has to get this win tonight. This is a game only a coach could love, and if I was a degenerate gambler, I'd probably bet on it. How much you betting, Reeves?
I don't know how much I'm betting, Ethan, but what I can tell you is that it's pretty unanimous who our Throne of Fire team is, which means I'll put on the crown. Clark Central earns our Throne of Fire team. Now that, guys, was a blast. Let's just hope Clark Central doesn't actually end up in flames tonight. We hope you enjoy your entire Friday night full of football here in Athens. And if that doesn't get ready for Friday Night Football, I don't know what will. A big special thanks to our fantastic analysts, Ethan Strang, Mariah Rose, and Stefan Caray, who broke down all the action here tonight. From our feature reporters on the scene and to our entire production crew who make all of this happen, my name is Reeves Jackson, saying so long and enjoy the Friday Night Lights.
Grady News Source is a student production of the Grady College of Journalism and Mass Communication.